Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we are going to be discussing and breaking down the devastating news between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Travis Etienne season abruptly ending due to a lisfranc injury that was suffered in the Week 2 preseason game against the New Orleans Saints. Now, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to say mahalo and thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. Just be sure to turn on and flip on the bell notification so you get notified when I go live or when I upload content. Now, I've been getting a lot of feedback from, I would say, 75% of the people who follow me and saying, hey, YouTube's dropping the ball on this. I'm not getting notified when you go live and I have my bell notifications on. Well, I was thinking about this and I said, hey, look, why is that? And I don't even have a reasoning for you, because it happens to me too when I subscribe to other people and I turn the bell. I don't get the notifications either. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. They're dropping the ball. But with that being said, we do have you covered. You guys can go in and join on Discord. That's a new social media platform that the BEASTwriter family and BWF are on. We're trying to grow that BWF Discord channel. So be sure to go to that server. And that way you'll be able to get all the updates no matter what social media platform you're on, whether it be Twitch TV, which we're now on, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And again, you will get notified every time I go on and post on these respective social media platforms. So again, I'll post the banner right now so you guys can join Discord. And again, it's right here. So just go to Discord. That's a new social media platform that we are on. And again, it's free, just like the social media platform that you are following me on, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch TV, YouTube. So do yourself a favor, join our Discord. And then what's good about Discord too is you can engage with other BWF inside that Discord. So again, we cover all 32 NFL teams. And if you're, for instance, a Niner fan or a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, you can go in there and really keep the engagement going, because again, BWF is all about social media engagement. And there you can go ahead and talk shop when I'm not posting videos, right? To kind of keep the interaction going, and we can kind of bounce around ideas, thoughts, analysis, whatever the case may be, as we continue to grow the BWF. So it's a really cool tool. And I really have come to enjoy it. I got to be honest. I didn't like it at first. I was like, man, do I really have to use this Discord thing? And now that I'm hooked, like I go into it every morning. The first thing I wake up, boom, I'm in Discord because there's interaction with other people. It's awesome. It's a really awesome tool. And so again, I encourage you guys to join us on Discord. If you guys haven't, you guys are missing massive giveaways, massive announcements. The first massive announcement was giving away my season tickets for the Kansas City Chiefs vs 49ers game in the first preseason game there. And that was announced on Discord. So again, we're going to do a lot of cool things on Discord through Discord. So join us on Discord. All right. And I'll go ahead and keep that up there for you. But okay, let's go ahead and get down to Travis Etienne. We are going to be breaking down that injury, that lisfranc injury, where he's now lost for the upcoming season. I'm going to break down the reason as to why he's lost for the NFL season and why he can't return for the NFL season. I'm also going to talk about how that's going to affect the Jacksonville Jaguars moving forward. All right, so let's go ahead and break it down as we peel back layers of the onion to get to the core, brick by brick. All right, so let me just pull it up here. Okay, so I'm going to be posting a video of exactly what happened, but let's go ahead and break it down as to who Travis Etienne is, right? So Travis Etienne is a 2021 first-round draft pick, second to two first-round draft picks by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He reunites with cornerback Trevor Lawrence, who went number 1 out of the University of Clemson, all right? So again, if you watched my pre-draft analysis, you would know that Travis Etienne was my number 2 ranked running back coming out of this draft class, right behind Najee Harris, who I believe is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he clocked in at 5'10", 215 pounds, was supposed to be used in like an Alvin Kamara role, right, with the New Orleans Saints, ironically, who they just played. So I was gauging this, doing the projections. I saw, Travis Etienne's probably going to get around 10 to 15 touches, whether it be receiving, whether it be rushing, but that's how it's going to look for the first couple of games, at least first few games, because James Robinson's obviously there. So they're going to balance the workload there as the change of pace back. Now, what happened was, now that Travis Etienne goes down, James Robinson's fantasy draft stock just went up. And again, he was borderline top 15 running back, whether they be standard or PPR. Now, I have him in the top 10 to 15 range for sure. I mean, he can go probably in the mid 12, 13 range, depending on the league that you're in, the number of teams. But James Robinson is now going to get the lion's shares of those carries. So if you play fantasy football, as I cover fantasy football, you're going to want to draft James Robinson because, again, what GM Trent Baalke and Urban Meyer were planning on using Travis Etienne as was that Alvin Kamara role, right? And they already have a guy by the name of Laviska Shenault who was really high on coming out of college. But now he's the focal point as a gadget player. DJ Shark is coming back from an injury. So again, you're seeing the banged up team on the offense side of the football. And again, the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line is not the best. Now they have Linder there, but aside from that, not very much, right? They do have some promising pieces there, but yeah, it's not very promising right now for that offensive line and that Jacksonville Jaguars offense and as a whole. And I do like DJ Shark, but again, he's banged up coming out of LSU. He's in a contract here. Laviska Shenault is supposed to ball out this year. I think he's going to do wonders for fantasy football owners if you guys decide to take Laviska Shenault. I don't know why I'm releasing this, man. I'm playing fantasy football. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. Anyways, people are going to look at this and be like, now I'm going to take Laviska Shenault. You see how you're fighting with yourself every time you watch an NFL game? It's like, oh, I want Laviska Shenault to do bad or to do well because he's on my fantasy team, but I don't want the Niners to lose. So like you're kind of fighting with yourself. We see this every single week on any given Sunday. So or Monday or Thursday. But anyways, getting back to this podcast. Yeah, Travis Etienne is now lost for the upcoming season because he suffered a lisfranc injury in the second quarter. That was a 1-yard run. I'm going to go ahead and post this for you because I think it's good that I post these videos for you. I'm going to try something new here. All right. So here's a video of Travis Etienne just really, really getting hurt on this play right here. All right. So watch him. He just between the tackles, hitting that A gap. Boom. Now, if you notice, his left foot gets buckled. His left foot gets buckled under all that pressure. You see that right here? That's his left foot. 92 and 77 are gang tackling him, but you also got to look at this guy right here. There's another defensive lineman that's basically trying to tackle Travis. So you have 3 guys, and I think this guy ends up as the 4th guy when it's all said and done. So you have 4 defensive linemen landing on that one or putting a lot of pressure, I should say, on this foot right here. You see where the cursor is? I don't know if you guys can see the cursor actually, but I don't know if it's popping up. But this is the left foot. You see number 92. And then you see right on the bottom half of the New Orleans Saints logo where it kind of, the little, I don't know what you call it, the little hook thing where Travis Etienne's foot is. It's a white foot, I guess you could say. It's wrapped up in tape. That's where you see the injury occur. That foot does not move. It's just planted in the ground like that. It's just, I can't believe it. It just looks horrible. And you see how he goes down. He kind of falls kind of funny. Let's just go through it one more time. I mean, this is not good. This is not good. All right, so we're just going to fast forward it, rewatch the play. Ouch. All right, so that's what we got there. So again, not good news for Travis Etienne, and again, he's lost for the season. Now people are wondering and asking me, hey, Beast, how come he's lost for the season? Well, let's go ahead and break it down, right? So let's break down the lisfranc injury. But before we go ahead and do that, let's talk about why he's lost for the season. Well, based on the NFL rules, he has not officially made the 53-man roster yet. So anytime a player goes and is sent to the IR, which stands for injured reserve, you then have to wait out the following season. Oh, wait out that season, I should say, because you didn't make your 53-man roster yet because obviously it hasn't been formulated. Preseason is not even done yet. So technically, you're not on the roster on that 53 official man roster. You just sent to the IR, which means you cannot come back during the regular season at any point in time. Now, if he was to make the 53-man roster and the inverse was true, then he could return. With a designated to return, there'd be a 21-day open window for him to begin practices, obviously working on the practice field, on the side field, whatever the case may be. And then the team has 21 days to go ahead and make that decision to whether to just designate him as IR and just leave him there, stashed away, or to actually activate him for that season, for the remainder of the season, I should say. So again, there's a lot of moving parts here, but in this particular case, because the 53-man roster hasn't been formulated yet, and he got injured before that 53-man roster was set. He is now off to IR, and his rookie season is now lost. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the lisfranc injury, right? So the lisfranc fracture is a midfoot injury, and there's two types of surgeries. I discussed this on Twitter. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I went ahead and posted this up. But again, a lisfranc fracture, a midfoot injury, basically it's a fracture between the cuneiforms and the metatarsals. And you guys are wondering, what the heck is a cuneiform and metatarsal? Well, a cuneiform has three parts, okay? Basically, I'm going to try to put it in layman terms. You have the medial part, you have the intermediate part, and then you have the lateral part. So it's what I like to call the MIL, all right? So based on where that fracture took place, you're going to have to combine the fractured bones lockstepped into one, depending on the severity of that injury, okay? Now, there's two types of surgeries when you have a lisfranc injury or a lisfranc fracture, right? And those are, the first one being internal fixation. The second one is fusion, all right? So let's go ahead and break down internal fixation. It's a standard procedure, more standardized than the fusion process I'm about to explain shortly thereafter. But let's talk about internal fixation. Internal fixation is basically a standardized process, a standardized procedure where plates and screws are positioned for the foot to heal properly. Okay, so you just insert screws, insert plates, done. Done deal, position it, it's done. That is a less severe lisfranc injury. Now, the second one is buyer beware. All right, buyer beware, because again, the severity of it depends on the type of surgery being conducted, which I already placed up on YouTube and Twitter, I should say, and it's also on Discord. So again, if you want to see what I had to say, again, if you're not on Twitter, join Discord because you'll get the feed. Even if you're not on Twitter, it shows up in your feed on Discord. So again, this is why it's important to follow me on Discord, which I included in the description box below. But all right, getting back to the lisfranc injury, the second part that is most severe is called the fusion process, right? It's a more severe process than the fixation process that I explained earlier, and here's the reasons why, right? Because the fusion process is when you weld the fractured bones or the fractured material to form one bone. So you're taking two fractured parts and just basically lockstepped into one, and that's going to heal that way. So the hardware does not be removed. It's staying there because, again, you're clamping it together, forming one bone. You're welding together. It's a really, basically your whole body, your mechanics of the body of the back, it's going to be changed. It's going to change. Like you have two fractured parts and you lockstep into one. It's a more severe process at the end of the day because the ligaments are too ruptured to be repaired. There's ligament damage there. So when it's too damaged to be repaired, you're going to have to just boom, clamp it in, and the hardware won't be removed at any point in time since the joints are fused together. And again, I want to know what Travis Etienne is going to have because, again, just like ACL injuries, where injuries occur from the average age of 15 to 25, a lot of those injuries, I would say, 70% of those injuries, well, not 70% of the injuries, but a lot of times, more times than not, that's a high rate. A lot of times, more times than not, you're going to develop arthritis in the affected knee over time. Same thing with the lisfranc injury. You're going to develop arthritis in the affected foot over time, more times than not, depending on the severity. So this is something that is a huge cause for concern. If I'm a GM and I know this, right, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, this guy has a lisfranc injury. The knock on him was he was too small coming out, and then he's already injured in the second preseason game. This is not boding well, right? This is not boding well. And let's say you have the less severity of the two injuries, right? Let's say that they went with the internal fixation process, and later down the road, he gets injured again on that same foot. Well, then you're going to have to fuse it together. I mean, that's just kind of like a no-brainer. So again, down the road, it can have lasting effects, right? And it's a huge blow to the Jacksonville Jaguars because, like I said, I had high hopes for Travis Etienne. I mean, he was one of the guys I liked coming out, man. Was he my draft crush? No, that guy's Najee Harris, but you guys all know that. But I had high hopes for Travis Etienne. I like Travis Etienne. He could do a variety of different things for a defense, to scare defenses. And again, what he would do is he added that X factor element that now Laviska Shenault has to pick up the slack as a team's gadget player. So we see these new gadget players are arriving in the NFL more times than not in the past happy NFL. Try to get your players in the best position to make plays. So you see offensive coordinators, offensive geniuses really scheming up things for those specific players. You've seen it with Deebo Samuel. Even though he's listed as a wide receiver, he's listed more as kind of a running back / wide receiver, right? When you get him out in open space, whether it be end arounds, reverses, or just running down the seams or running those shallow crossing dig routes, out routes, whatever the case may be. You see it with guys like Curtis Samuel, who's with the Carolina Panthers, right? He can line up in the backfield, also line up in the slot. He can line out wide. He can play any of the receiver positions, and now he's off to the Washington football team. So again, you see it around the league. It's a parity league, and again, every team is looking for that X factor back type wide receiver. All right, so huge blow for Travis Etienne and the Jacksonville Jaguars and Urban Meyer. Now, how is this going to affect the team moving forward? Well, they do have James Robinson, right? James Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, was a top 5 running back in terms of rushing yards, right? An undrafted rookie free agent, definitely top 10. So for fantasy purposes, he's going to get the lion's share of the carries. And again, he just elevates his fantasy football stock, whether it be standard or non-PPR, because we'd like to talk about fantasy here as well and how that kind of ties into this exact video, because we want to cover all our bases, right? I play fantasy, and I don't know why I'm giving this information, but again, James Robinson's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. And I don't care that they have Carlos Hyde. I know he has ties with Urban Meyer. I covered Carlos Hyde during his time with San Francisco when GM Trent Baalke drafted him. And I spoke with Carlos Hyde just seconds after he was drafted in our conference call with the San Francisco 49ers. And I just don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's going to be a player that's really going to take on 15, 20 carries. I see a guy that may get 7, 8 carries a game. If he has a hot hand, maybe Urban Meyer rides him for a couple of weeks. But other than that, it's going to be James Robinson's show. And James Robinson, I'm a huge fan of him because he's an undrafted rookie free agent who just shined out and balled out. So again, Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel for you guys. I mean, I know you guys have a banged up offense. You have DJ Shark, who suffered an injury. He's kind of banged up. You now have Travis Etienne out for the year. I know you guys had high hopes for him. But again, let's face it, the Jacksonville Jaguars weren't going to go anywhere. They were going to hold a top 5 pick next year's draft. So again, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Not saying you want to lose, you want to win. I mean, you want to win. You don't go into a game thinking you're going to lose. Who knows? That's why you play the game, as Chris Berman always says. But at the end of the day, let's be realistic about it, right? My job is to project and predict. It's a player's job to perform. Unfortunately, what they have on their roster, they don't have depth. They don't have good depth. They don't have starting depth, right? So when you say that and you use that analysis or my BWF analysis and you say, okay, let's build back another layer of the onion to really get to the core. What other needs are heading into next year's draft? Well, I already covered that in my 2022 NFL draft. I already got a head start on that, getting the coaches film, talking to coaches around the league in the Power 5 conferences and getting their respective takes on things. So I really have a strong pulse. I would say more so than any other year. Usually I start the 2022 NFL draft or the next year's draft mainly around October. October is when I start getting into it, but I'm starting right now before the season even begins. So I'm going to, if you think I was on it for the last 10 years, I'm going to be on it even more so this year. And again, the network of the BWF just continues to grow. So I get a lot of information from a lot of well-respected coaches, scouts, and you name it, GMs, whatever the case may be. All right. So personnel department. But anyways, getting back to this particular podcast, yeah, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are headed in the right direction. An empire wasn't built overnight, so sit tight. All right. Well, that'll be it for this video. I hope you liked what I had to say. If you did, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Also, again, I have my Discord up. Please go and follow me on Discord. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not. Thank you so much for this podcast. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. And again, spread the word to all your family and friends as we keep things Beast 100 all the time. Take care. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.